What's going on, guys? Thanks for the hosts. Get this music in a spot where I can kind of hear. How you guys doing tonight? Tonight we are going to do a board layout for balls. This is the why are you so quiet? That better? Wait. Is that better? Much better? Okay. Gonna be doing a board layout for balls. These let's just get right to it. These they look like microchips, but these are they're LEDs. They're addressable red, green, blue LEDs that I can program any of them to turn on at any time, and I can do all kinds of crazy patterns and stuff. The first part of this process is lay out the design. So we got balls. The next part of the design is to actually hook all these things together. So wire it all together and connect all the grounds, connect all the positives together. And these LEDs work on a daisy chain. So I'm going to only have one input to this board, but then every LED has to output and input to the next LED. So that's where things can start to get a little complicated, as I have to do all these traces and tracks and not overlap any tracks or short anything out. So just to get right into it, little background about the LEDs. This is our signal in down here in the bottom left. The dot is our ground. The pad across from that is our signal out. And then we got our positive down here. What am I using to make this? This is board layout software. Well, basically what I did is I found the LEDs I wanted to use online, and I just create a pattern. and I imported those LEDs. But this is only the board software, so I can add parts and stuff if I want, like resistors and capacitors. So just give the general layout of the board. To actually make the board physically, I'm probably going to cover that either later tonight or tomorrow, to actually make the physical board. So this is just making the board digitally so I can print it out onto a transparency, which then I will transfer to an actual circuit board. Let's get right to it though. Yeah, I'm going to take this, print it out, and I am literally going to put it onto a sheet of copper. And then, well, let's just start from there. I print this out on a transparency backwards. And then I take my circuit board, I clean it, get it real nice, and make sure there's no dust, no bumps or anything, get it well sanded. And then I lay down a film of light sensitive film. And then I put the transparency onto that film, which is adhered to the board. I expose that for, say, 5 to 7 minutes, and when it comes out, the transparency blocks the light, so anything that's exposed is going to stay on the board. And then I wash off the transparency, the film that hasn't been exposed, and then from there I dip it into ferric chloride. The ferric chloride will eat any of the copper away that has not been covered by the film. And then from there, it's just trimming the board down and soldering the LEDs onto it. Honestly, it's a pretty easy process, but it takes a long time, and you got to get everything just right to do it. But first, I'm going to start off with the data path. So this is the path that the data is going to take throughout the board, and I got to remember what size trace I used. Crap. What size did I use? Here, I got a BRB, so I got some spoilers here that I don't want to show yet. So let me see. I can't remember what trace size I used. What did I use for this one? Oh, I was on the wrong menu. I'm using 0.02 inches. Alright. Hell, what am I gonna do? No, it's too thick. 3 inches. It didn't take. Come on. 0.2. So I'm gonna start down here with the B. I'm gonna wire it so when it starts, it fills the LEDs this way and goes around like that. Well, the first thing we gotta do is get all these traces wired up. I'm actually, I want to go from the outside. So basically anything I'm drawing is going to get exposed by the light and will actually stay on the board when I go to etch it. So anything in black is going to disappear basically when I etch it. I'll try to get these traces as straight as possible. Well, off a little bit. Yeah, like if I go to actually do the etch here, that's what it's going to look like. So anything that was red is now white, which is going to be transparent when I go to the transparency. And anything that is hit by light, the film hardens. So when I go to clean the film off, you know, the film that hasn't been exposed off, it just comes right off, and the stuff that's been exposed stays and sticks to the board. But I can show you that again a little bit later down the line here. This is gonna get tight. Oh, man, I definitely had a lot of questions when I was, you know, first learning about how to do this. It's just the only problem is right now I'm slightly drunk, so hopefully I'm explaining it to you quite well. So basically, we want to make sure that this data line going around the board in an easy fashion. Like if I didn't flip this, I would have to route this down here and then down here, or over this way. But that could interrupt with some other things I do later with the power. Yeah, nice. What I'm doing here is a basic, quick sketch out, basically. See, I don't like how that went, so I can flip this around. And that can get there. There. And that'll flip as well. There. Technically the B is done. Well, except for the power lines. But let's see here. The middle one. What about the middle one? Why is that all sideways and shit? Come on. What, the data line? Oh, the data... Oh, yeah, I see what you're talking about. Good call. Hopefully that's one. Yeah, I can run underneath the LED. I can do that. The yellow marks is just to tell me where everything's at. So if I take that away, you know, I have no idea what's going on here. I think he was talking about I had this wired wrong, which I did. I meant to wire it to here, because that's data out and then the data in. Oh. Yeah, I can go under the LEDs if I want to. It's not gonna get affected. Those yellow lines are, yeah, just to tell me where everything's at. I don't know why. There we go. It wasn't snapping the line that well to the grid. A up real quick. The data lines usually are pretty quick to do. The more difficult part is trying to figure out how to route the power. Yeah, go ahead, Balls. So you're saying, can I go, like, out of this guy and into two others? I can, but if this is LED 0, both of these are considered LED 1, and everything after that is going to be, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why they all have to be daisy chained. Plus, when you split off like this, it can cause some issues, like further down the line. The data can get corrupted a little bit. So I can't come out of the B and just go to the L and do that at the same time. Because when it comes over here, both of these LEDs will be on, and I have no way to address them. Other than the number that they are next to mine. I don't like how close these things get, but it works out. And I've probably done 10 different designs for things and such, and pretty much know like how these should really lay out. I just basically slap them all down, and then I'm gonna go back through and... How much does it cost to make? The LEDs are about 7 cents each. The film, I think, was like $10 for a meter. The transparencies are super cheap. I think the really most expensive thing is the ferric chloride. It's like $30. Honestly, I can make this board for, you know, $20-30. Now, if I order boards online, that's gonna be a different story. But since I'm doing it from scratch, it's, you know, it's more of how much is my time worth. I'm just giving this to balls. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it'd be kind of cool to maybe do this as, you know, like a side thing, get paid for it, but I really don't see it taking off that well, or that far. Why? If I flip this, let's do that. Shit. Delete. I would have to run this up like that. And yeah, I can run the data back out, but then I have to worry about, you know, how close these things get. I can probably do that. And then over to the L. But I still have to come in here, and this is a ground, so I'd have to connect that ground over to here. This ground still has to go to somewhere, you know. I'll leave it like that just for sakes. And pull it down. Like that. I will see how that goes. I've done a lot of A's already, and every time I do this, I learn something new about how to order letters. Because either else, if I was gonna do that, I would have to put a hole here, run the trace up to it, and then put another hole over here at this signal path. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I mean, there's no harm in testing that out right now. Let's see how I want to do these. On this, I would have to take up. I'm gonna leave a little room for power pads. Yeah, trial and error. Honestly, I made a sign for someone, and I literally went through 3 to 4 different layouts and spent hours on each one, just learning the best way to do it. Nice. Now you do that D&D online? You build stuff online, or is it... Yeah? I've always wondered how people play D&D online. And I hear my little brother talking about it all the time. Dicey. Interesting. So a couple of different utilities. The only downside about D&D online though is you can't like collect all the cool dice and stuff. Make little characters. I can see the convenience of it though. Each one is most. Yeah, free's always better. Not really, because if I did... Yeah, I was going to flip the middle of the Z. If I did that, I would have to bring this up, over and down, and then bring this. I had to do that. Which that gets complicated. The less I can go under stuff, the better. Man, I was gonna flip these. Is this I can even do a little fancy zigzag here? Hey. The reason I'm going under here is because I'm gonna have the positive here. I don't want the data going around the positive, so I can probably route the positive to all this way. Here we do that. Run the positive that way. So when I'm running the data lines, I also try to keep in mind what I have to do for the power. So this power here, I'm probably just gonna, something like that. Make it look nicer, of course, but there's all the positives right there. So, data. Ooh, that lines up nice. All right. Yep. This though. This I'm gonna go around because I'm gonna have to get those negatives, all these negatives connected together. So I'm gonna go that way with that. Get that nice in the middle. I mean, hell, I can probably even go straight to turning this off and maybe switching the streaming gear to downstairs and get that process rolling. Copy that as a marker. See, Balls, your name is easy. You got 4 letters. Oh, I forgot the copy. So let's bam, data's done. You think I'm doing one for you, Coast? Alright, Balls. See you when I get home. Or when you get home. So the next thing we want to do is start the ground plane. So I usually like to do big rectangles. Because the less copper that comes off when I do the etch, the better. So this is where I just throw down a giant rectangle. And I start trying to figure out what best path is for getting these all powered up. I would run this way, but I have to consider that I have positive here, positive here, positive here, here, and here that I have to wire up together. And the less fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. Well, screw just doing one at a time here. Let's do the positive here then. Nice positive plane right there. Probably even make that a little bit bigger. This is gonna be a special case. I'm gonna route that like that. Whoops, I wanted you. That way I can cleanly bring this down in like that. Line that up. And if I really wanted to, let's see what we got here. Let's do giant positive plane there. Come on, line up. I forgot to do. I like to mark my grounds with holes. Get it going like that. I was thinking of that. I was thinking about doing that. Like keep the negative on the left and the top. While keeping the ground on the bottom and right. So dicey. Just to be safe, I'm not gonna run that to that. I guess I can run that to that pad. Yeah, positive on the bottom right. I don't remember what I even said. Let's see, I think that is it. I want to make this a little beefier. Just because we're powering all that. I'm adding rectangles wherever I can. Down over there. Yeah, so I can probably just do, you know, I'm probably gonna have to do ground like that, unfortunately. So I have some stuff over here that need to go to ground. I can probably run positive up.
Go downtown and have a rat gnaw that thing off your face.
I can probably do something like that. Let's see here, trace.
Good day to you, madam.
This is all ground here, so I can probably a nice rectangle right here. Oops, there we go. And getting positive in here is going to be a little bit tight, but yeah. Let's see, I did CJ's already, so I can probably show you what I did with his. Yeah, that's CJ's. This was probably... This is the second version that I did for him. The first one didn't go so well. This one I wish I kind of connected things a little better. A lot of these rectangles aren't connected. So when I go to wire this up, you know, I'm gonna have to, if I do continuity check, I have to get all these grounds connected. They're all separate. So this is gonna be a pain.
Good day to you, madam.
I'm actually go to the side of this. I mean, doing this really reminds me, there's an app on the iPhone called Flow Free. Not sponsoring them or anything, but it reminds me a lot of that. We had to get all these lines just right and not have them overlap. Come on. There you go. Yeah, there's a lot of routing problems because of the way the data went around that board. But it is what it is. See, the only issue I have now is I have to get this ground somewhere and then still hook up all these positives. Something. So this is gonna get too tight. I don't know if I want to do the A like that, and let's flip this back. I'm actually going to get rid of this whole data line. Hell, probably for the hell of it. Scoot down a little bit. Let's offset it. Let's make people's OCD rage. So now this can come up, over, and pull the ground from over here. Data I can send out to a hole. Positive I can route under and up. And that could feed power down here too. Positive here I gotta do something with. Yeah, let's select that wire. That will make running power a little bit easier. And then I can take that positive and go whoop. And clean this up a little bit. There'll be data out, which goes here. And I can run all my positive. And a positive coming here. I got a negative. That's not what I want. A negative coming down like that. Do all these along here. The only downside about doing this is now I'm gonna have to get a way to, like, I'll have to put a wire from there to there, but that's not a problem. That's the A. Fucking A. Little ground plane. I can route this ground like that. Make sure that's straight. There we go. That's the L done. Now, Oh, I thought I had to run ground down here for some reason, but I guess not. Yep. I thought, like, I ran negative down here, so I thought I was going to do it here again, but I don't know what I was thinking. Honestly, this is probably one of the fairly easier ones I've done, or I'm just getting really good at it, which I doubt. Okay. Man, technically I could have just copied and pasted that, but yeah, it's the same thing. Alright, we're gonna have some fun here. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Let me bring this rectangle down. Actually, this ain't gonna be as bad as I thought. Just gotta get a little fancy here with the rectangles. Something like that. Okay. Yeah, the less black there is on my project, kind of the better. It saves the ferric chloride a bit. And this copper's gonna look nice. Can't tell if that's straight or not. Yeah, that's good. I'm probably even gonna go back and, you know, tangle that off a little bit. Come back in here and slap down some rectangles. Bitch. And that's the only pad on the board that's not going to have anything connected to it. Come on, deselect. Thank you. This isn't as straight as I would like it. Center these up a little bit. That is crooked as fuck. There we go. And last but not least, it's dead in there. Something like that. And that was actually pretty fucking easy. Yeah. And I can shrink this down too, even if I want to. Some of these traces. Now it's just a matter of going through and looking at it 400 times.
Bobby's like freaking out right now.
Long at the LL. What? What are you talking about? The only thing I gotta do now, all bottom positive box can be bigger. Like make it down more, pull it down more. Chip in the A. Oh, look at that. It's missing a positive. Some fucking eyes you got there, Drac. What's going on, man? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, this part I'm just going through and see if there's any other little rectangles I can use. This one is going to be left blank though. I need to make an alignment marker here. So we're looking about 7.6. 6. Wait, what? 7.6. 6.6. I basically need to make a 1-inch line on my board.
Bobby's like freaking out right now.
I'm gonna line it. Yeah, we're about 6.6. That's an alignment mark for later. Let's just do a quick check here. Signal comes in. Make sure everything's connected. Signal's going right. It's fine like that. Ah, you. Why don't I have my camera on? Because my camera's hanging from the ceiling in the basement, which I'm probably about to switch over to. Okay, you're connected. Good, good. Your ground over there. Oh, hell, if I really wanted to, I can do that. Now that positive will go up, 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 and up. And that'll be all connected. You're good, you're good. 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 And honestly, sometimes I'll go through a board like 6, 7 times, and when I go to actually print it and look at the transparency and waste all the ink, I'll notice I missed something. No matter how many times. But this one, there's a low LED count. That's not as bad. Honestly, this... I'm gonna bump that up. Pull this in a little bit. The problem about making these big squares is it takes longer to solder the LEDs onto, because I have to heat up these giant planes. I'm trying to leave a little bit of trace between that and the rectangle. These are going to thin down. Well, what's cheaper than the chemical? The solder? Well, the problem with heating the pad is I then have to sit and wait for the pad to preheat and then put the LED onto that. If I get the LED too hot for too long, I could damage it. There's a trade-off. You have this nice ground plane, but then I have to sit here and try to heat it up. Alright, where did I leave off at? The L's I know are good. The solder's cheap. No, I don't care. The only crappy part is if I put an LED down and I gotta unsolder it, the LED's toast. If I solder all 4 pads onto the LED and I have to I put it on the wrong way around or something, it's toast. It's really hard to unsolder these because the solder wicks under the LED and then onto the pad below it. So it's really, really hard to suck all that solder up. The solder wick. Is there any problem if I make that bigger? Nope. Alright. Time for some shameless advertisement. Make some room here. That's not good. What's nice too about this program is I can go boop, And I can see everything that's connected to the positive line. And quickly see that every single LED there, every LED there. I can do it for the ground plane too. Unfortunately, the program's not smart enough for me to do the data line, but I'm not too worried about it. Alright, shameless advertising. Yeah. The only thing is maybe, I mean, I've done it sometimes where I put the data line in and then taking it out of the wrong one, out of the wrong pad. But I just wired everything up, so... Let's see here. See, because my bot has better odds of winning than Balls' bot. So obviously my bot just hates you. So we are going to do... that bold. Balls is trademark symbol. Like a ball, like an actual ball sack, or is actual the logo that I made him? Oh, the TM. What's up, Annie? What I like to do, put a date on there. Second month of 2019. This is board rev 1.0. And then I try to fit that on the fucking board. Good there. I might just have to make this smaller. Fuck it. It's my next size down. Too small. Hey, back here. Uh, 0.00. Tool bag. What was I doing in between? There we go. 120 is good. Clean this up a bit. Make sure I spelled everything right. And now I'll just do a test here. I've been trying to go through and make sure that all these lines are straight. But if they're not straight, they're gonna have issues. Which surprisingly, I made everything straight for once. Like, let's monkey for an example. Like, if this is like that, See how jaggedy that line is now? Just from me moving it like two little spots to the right. Gotta make sure all these lines are nice and straight. Make sure nothing's really too bad. Like this in here, I can live with. That, that's not straight. There we go. Let me. Okay, that's good. I am kind of concerned about that. Let's make that a little bit smaller. I've had some boards already where I've made this just a little bit too close, and the ferric chloride doesn't take it off all the way. So I could do a little trademark or something. Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I got it. Oh no, spoilers! You didn't see that. Now I'm probably gonna put the trademark like up here. You didn't see anything. No, I am not going back to that screen. What did you see interesting? Honestly, every time I go to the file menu, it's a spoiler. Because all my previous boards are listed there. That's why I'm trying to do it quick. Alright. Google in an arch. No. Now I want to do a transfer etch, which is going to have it backwards so I can print another transparency. And this is where my little line mark here comes in handy. So I don't know if this is going to screw up, but I'm going to take a snapshot of this. Hopefully it doesn't freak my stream out. I take that and throw it in the Word. So I need grid lines. I'm going to flip this landscape. What? It's just something fun. Electronics is kind of a hobby for me, so it's doing something just for the hell of it. I mean, it's fun to me. So that marker I made earlier was a 1-inch line. That helps me line it up on here. Because I do not want to print this. If I print this, it's going to print a whole page of black ink, which I don't want. So I try to line up as best I can onto a Word document. Yep. And the mark I made in the program earlier, this mark is exactly 1 inch. use that reference with 1-inch squares to line it up. Actually, I tried Photoshop. It made it really blurry. It didn't handle the transform as well. I tried really hard in Photoshop because I really didn't want to use Word. But it did no good for me at all. Surprisingly. So while I have it here, it's also another chance for me to make damn sure that everything is connected to something, except for this pad. That pad's okay. You got a whole. Make sure things are lines that are not gonna be touching too bad. Like in here, that's kind of pushing it, but I think it's ready to print. So before I do that though, I'm gonna wait on him to printing it out. It's gonna take a little bit. This is how much ink and detail it has to do. But I can take a short break, go offline, and get the everything in the basement ready to go. I actually had to run down into the basement to grab my tape and scissors. So, but for now, what I want to do is trademark. So what I'm gonna do is try to put that on the photo, but I can't make it too small is the only problem. Okay, let me just make it huge. And what I need to do is reverse this. Yeah, I should have. I just, as I flipped it, Draconis, I just realized it's the same thing. Let's see if Word lets me just paste that in. We'll see how this goes. I can turn grid lines off now. So without affecting the ground plane too bad, put a little trademark up there. No. As long as it's thicker than these traces, it should be fine. I mean, I can probably even go a tiny bit smaller, but there's plenty of ground plane here for it to. In fact, let me just. I don't know if it'll let me do just like a. Oh, you bastard! I don't know if I can just do like a tiny little smidge smaller. It'll let me do it. Maybe hide it up here in the corner a little bit. Just remember, everything in white is going to stay as copper. Everything else... Whoa. Anything in white's going to or everything in white is going to stay. Anything in black is going to disappear. Copper-wise. So, let me grab my tape and scissors, because I gotta get a piece of transparency ready, so I will be right back. Oh, I didn't mute the mic. Son of a bitch. But thanks for coming. No. All right. So let me get the printer hooked up. And I need to mark the page on how it goes to the printer. Grab the marker. Okay. Yeah. All right. What's up, Real McCoy? I'm doing good. Now to save on ink, I'm gonna put a white square over most of this. That leaves some so I know where to tape the transparency. Yeah, I'll tell you, Real McCoy, I did a 11-hour shift today at work. And the very end was very, very frustrating. Yeah, it's been mandatory overtime all week at work. So let me print this as low quality. And while it's doing that, I think I have all the scrap transparency I have is junk. So I'm gonna have to grab a sheet of transparency. And move the mic so I don't bump it. So basically what I printed out is an outline. And this little mark in the corner, I can also use the tape measure to verify that that is 1 inch. Which it is exactly 1 inch, surprisingly. So I can show you guys on the downstairs camera when I move over to there, but I'm gonna take a slice of transparency. Now this transparency is not like overhead transparency. It's actually designed for screen printing, like shirts and stuff. So it really sucks the ink up. Unfortunately, it's kind of expensive, so I usually just cut pieces off every now and again, you know. This is actually a lot smaller than I was planning on making it, but I'll just adapt to it. Kind of wish I did have my camera up and running so you can see what the hell I'm doing. Like I said, it's hanging from the ceiling downstairs, and every time I adjust that camera, it shakes and moves all day. It takes forever to settle down. It's hanging from the ceiling from a bunch of little wires. So, all right. I used way too much tape, but that's alright. Alright, now the long process. Let's actually print this out. Just gonna print. It is technically glossy paper. I want the best quality and pile black and white out. I am gonna have to cut this piece of copper down. Ariel, here. And I've already hinted CJ's, so there's CJ's. Okay. I thought the trademark was a little too high and it might fall off when I transfer it, but that should be good. Excuse me. Alright, well, this is all for part one. I'm going to go ahead and get set up in my laboratory. And once Balls lets me know when he's home, I will go ahead and start streaming again. So I'll catch you guys in, I don't know, 40 minutes maybe, tops. See you guys then.